Hey, there you are. Welcome back. Unless you haven't been here before, this is part 3 of the Ballad of Big Gus, so if you missed the beginning, you might want to go back to it, which doesn't really make sense since you can't really go back to something if you weren't there before. Anyhow, don't worry about that too much right now. Just know there's some links in the comments. Okay? Here we go. The Ballad of Big Gus, part 3. The trolls got real scared on account of the Yoopers was so good at hunting and that sort of thing. They agreed to quit cutting the bushlight trees. But by then they was pretty much all gone. The Yoopers knew they could never trust the trolls again, but they also had a bushlight situation to figure out. The trolls said they needed to keep cutting trees down to maintain the bridges they built, or Bud wouldn't be able to get all the bushlights to the Yoop. The Yoopers weren't too happy about that deal. But when you have to choose between bush lights and no bush lights, you better work something out, you know? So, the Yoopers told the trolls they could keep cutting trees, but not too many, and they better make sure they leave enough around so they're still pretty to look at. To make sure the trolls kept their word, the Yoopers built Big Gus, the biggest chainsaw in the world. See, the Yoopers told the trolls that if they didn't keep the bush lights coming, or if they started taking down too many trees, then they'd fire up Big Gus and cut down every single tree there was in the Yoop and use them to have a real big fire and burn down the bridge. The trolls did whatever it is that trolls do when they're trying to make a deal, and they agreed with the Yoopers, mainly because of how they really seemed like they meant business. The Yoopers decided to keep Big Gus on the highway by Marquette on account of that's where the most trolls go when they come up to the Yoop on vacation. They like to go there because it's the part of the Yoop that's the most like where they live back home under the bridge, which don't really make much sense if you think about it. At least it don't make no sense to the Yoopers anyway. I think it has something to do with McDonald's. Anyhow, they figured if they keep Big Gus there, then lots and lots of trolls will see it all the time and be reminded of the deal they worked out. That's the story of Big Gus, but that's not where the story ends. Not at all. Not by a long shot. Well, maybe by a long shot, but you'll see what I mean here in a little bit. You see, it turned out that this arrangement with the trolls actually worked out pretty good for everybody. The trolls got a good supply of wood to build and maintain their bridges, and they had a nice place to visit and spend all their money. Some of the Yoopers even worked for the trolls cutting trees down. They figured they like going out in the woods anyway, so they might as well get those dang trolls to pay them to do it. And the bush lights kept coming, and you didn't have to wait for them to be in season anymore, and they were always ice cold. So that was nice too. Any rate, things went on real nice like that for many, many years, and Lance grew to be a very old troll. He felt real bad about tricking the Yoopers the way he did. See, he'd only grown up around trolls, and he just kind of figured that that's the way things were and that the Yoopers were tricky too. Anyhow, when he got older and to feeling bad about what he did, he used his troll money to plant bushlight trees all over the Yoop. They grow real slow, so it's going to take a long time for them to come back to how they was. But even now, if you go real deep in the woods, you might find one. If the fibs don't find them first. Well, this concludes part 3. What a ride, eh? If you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We'll see you later in part 4.